Hello, my dear friends. Namaste and welcome. I am Jill Loftus of Nuit Astrology. Welcome to your planetary energy forecast for the week of December the 30th, 2024, and our last planetary energy forecast for the week of 2024. This week bridges the 2 years. It is an interesting little bookend because we start this week with a new moon in Capricorn. And remember, Pluto has just finished up its long journey from 2008 in the sign of Capricorn. And then coming up at the end of January, January 29th, we have the beginning of the Chinese lunar calendar, the Lunar New Year. And we also have a new moon in Aquarius. And so I feel like they're both new moons, right? They're both initiatory, but it's a new energy in Capricorn to start the week that says goodbye to all that Plutonian work and says at the end of January, hello to the new phase. So it's a very interesting week. Now, we also have this week, one of the main things to watch out for is that tense opposition between Mars, our action planet, our warrior, and Pluto, the death and regenerative force. Now, they stood across the sky from each other the first week of November, but that flavor was just a little different because that was in the previous signs. It was at the very end of Cancer and Capricorn. Now we have Mars moving backwards through Leo, getting to the very, very last couple degrees before it moves back into the sign of Cancer to finish up part of its retrograde movement. But now it steps into that tense configuration with Pluto again. Now, I feel like this is going to be the same but different, but it's definitely going to activate your chart in a kind of a fresh way. It might have some rhythms that rhyme with or connect with what happened the first week of November, but in some other way, it's introducing some new energy. This, of course, is something to pay attention to because this configuration will occur again later in the year as they stand across from the sky from each other around 3 degrees. This is a slightly different, just a couple steps away. But during that time, Mars will be in forward motion, a little bit different, right? And so really pay attention to what's going on this week. Let that tone the week, observing that balance between action and renovation, balancing between the desire to do things your way, independently, to take charge, and then understanding the collective energies and how those are energies that cannot be discounted or ignored. It's kind of like, it's kind of like people keep talking about the weather, right? It's a classic conversation. Also because it's relevant to our lives and it's becoming more and more relevant because of climate change. And, I remember talking with somebody recently about the where I'm going to be living in Portugal. And they were asking about the weather. And it was like, well, yeah, traditionally it's been this way. But who's to say? It's about to change. It's about to pivot. And that's where this Plutonian energy is showing us. And it has many other cosmic connections this week. So let's start and do it day to day. But I want you to watch that overview of that Mars-Pluto because it is tense, because it can cause violence, it can cause argumentativeness, it can cause disagreements that are very much about, I need you to just do it my way, or it can feel very controlling or difficult. There can be some darkness, some underworld or underhandedness associated with that Plutonian energy as well. And we're just getting a handle on that, what Pluto in Aquarius, what that flavor is going to be like. So it could be very interesting from several different perspectives. Now let's go back to the 30th of December and that new moon in Capricorn. So it is at 9 degrees of the sign of Capricorn. It's at 5:27 p.m. Eastern. Please adjust for your time zone. Now it is a karmic turning point moon. I really see it this way. Why? Well, because at the same time we have a precise trine, flow of blessings from Pluto to the South Node in Libra. So a beautiful air configuration there. Ideas, partnerships, renovating those partnerships, emerging from the underworld and figuring out who you want to be with, right? And then, therefore, Pluto's also sending sextile energy to the North Node in independent Aries. This is a very karmic configuration. And when I say karmic, I'm sure I use that phrase a lot, and hopefully you're not like, right, okay, karma, what does that mean? I mean, karmic just means that there's a true evolutionary energy to it, there's a purpose to it, there's an understanding that comes from it, and that it should help you to choose the next step or direction, all right? Now, as I talked earlier, this new moon does have that Mars-Pluto beginning to form, right? It's not exact precision, mathematical precision, until we get to the 3rd. But when they do step into that configuration, both Mars and Pluto are actually activating the nodes. And so this creates what in the sky, what we call a mystic rectangle. And if you look at the astrological chart, it's wild looking. You've got this opposition, right? The big thick red line of Pluto and Mars. But then they both are individually sending beautiful energy to the nodes. So it creates this big blue rectangle when you look at the charts. And so this, again, it's a turning point. It's kind of it's a pretty rare configuration. It's pretty interesting. And so it's really explore your relationship dynamics and see what's been happening. If you've, decided to recommit to restructure a relationship, whether you've decided to walk away and see what the next phase is, this new moon might really activate the Saturnian forces of how you are going to accomplish that, because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. So I am liking this new moon. I'm also liking this new moon because there's a gorgeous trine from Mercury in Sagittarius to Chiron in Aries. Now, Mercury is finishing up at getting out of its retrograde shadow in Sagittarius. And in fact, on the 2nd of January, Mercury emerges from the shadow. So now you have the green light to buy your electronics or your technology items. You may feel like all of a sudden you get a little leap forward. Now, there are other factors in the month of January that might make you feel like you have to step back a couple of steps. But in the Sagittarius area of life, the area of life that has to do with local transport, or not local transport because that's Gemini, it's across the sky. It's international travel. It's the sign of philosophy and understandings, of lawsuits, of religion, of mind expansion, of seeing the big, wide, wonderful world through the lens of optimism and excitement and opportunity. So I'm liking that move forward, and I'm loving that contact with Chiron. It could really bring up, some of the healing work that you've been up to. You might encounter a new book or course or class. You're like, wow, you know what? I'm going to take that. That's my ticket forward to launch this new calendar year, right? So I really like that energy as well. Now, we are also going to watch Venus going into Pisces on the 2nd of the month. And that is a very different tone change. Venus in Aquarius, she's pretty detached, analytical, she's not that touchy-feely, cuddly, romantic, right? And then all of a sudden she slips into the immersive sign of Pisces, and it heightens that sense of romance and beauty. This also adds to the Pisces party that is really going to be happening at the end of the month. And so wherever Pisces is for you, see if you can kind of feel into the tone change of the goddess of love, beauty, and see how that might ask you to be more immersive, but also structured, because Saturn's still in Pisces, around love or money or values. All right. Now, keep in mind that mystic rectangle with Pluto, Mars, and the nodes, that's actually in play from now until January the 9th. So cosmic, karmic relationship things all the way. All right. Another significant moon void late on the 2nd at 11:13 p.m. Eastern until the 3rd at 10:21. So keep that in mind. And then we have the sun in the sign of Capricorn, sending a sexy little sextile to Saturn in Pisces. Sun, Saturn, this is opportunity. This is like, oh, wow. I mean, something that you wanted, something that you're trying to accomplish, something that you're wanting to push forward with in the Capricorn area of life. Now you find the way to do it. Now you figure out how to foundation it, how to, figure out what the rules and regulations are. You can get the right, maybe you need to get a paper signed off by somebody or whatever. There's wonderful opportunities here to get aid from authority figures. And it's a beautiful combo as well, because remember, Capricorn's ruler is Saturn. So for them to be in a blessing configuration really brings some abundant opportunities. Now remember, Saturn is in the sign of Pisces, so it could come to you in a Piscean way. It might not be a letter in the mail. It could be a dream. It could be a meditation. It could be, just intuition. So, but don't let that sweet little blessing that pops up, you know, mid end of the week, don't let it slide without taking advantage of it. It won't last forever. All right. I'm also keeping an eye at the end of the month, or end of the week, 4th and 5th, because we have the Pisces moon. So we're going to have Pisces moon, and then it's going to go into an Aries moon. And I think observing within ourselves this shift of energy from Pisces to Aries, from the end of the zodiac to the very beginning of the zodiac, is something we need to become conversant in, because in the spring, we're about to have Neptune go from Pisces to Aries. We're going to have Saturn go from Pisces to Aries. We're about to have the nodes go from Aries to Pisces, right? And from Libra to Virgo. So this exchange, because those energies are so different, not only is it water and fire, but there's you know, there's a focus that has to happen with Pisces energy, because it's the very end of the zodiac. It's where the last bits are dissolved into that recreation in the sign of Aries, that initiatory, that Ace of Wands kind of fire. Let's begin again. And especially Neptune and Saturn are just going to kind of be bouncing back and forth between 29, 28 Pisces and into 0, 2, 3 Aries over almost a whole year. And it's going to feel, I think, very abrupt and sudden when we get to March, April, May, June, when this energy starts to shift, because it's so dramatically different, right? Awareness of where these areas are in your chart, very useful, very helpful. But even just to begin to tune in to when the moon moves from Pisces to Aries, I think might give you this you know, a little bit of a more of a handle, or more of an awareness on how you react to that energy. If you have a lot of water in your chart, maybe that Pisces really feels comfortable, and then the Aries energy turns on and you're just like, everyone's so argumentative. Or maybe you're in that Pisces energy, you know, water is not something you are comfortable or conversant or don't have a lot of experience with, and everything could just feel very fuzzy, and then all of a sudden you're like, bam, I want to do this. I got this Aries inspiration, this rash, you know, kind of go juice. So I think paying attention to that will be useful and helpful. That Pisces moon is going to send some beautiful energy to Uranus, which is also possible to bring in some magical synchronicities. It's also going to conjunct Neptune, which is very inspired. And then it will move in on the 5th. It will move into Aries and trine to Mars and Leo and sextile Pluto and Aquarius. So I'm really liking that. There's also another significant moon void, just a heads up. On the 5th from 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 2:01 p.m. Eastern. So if you're trying to sign a contract, make a major decision, lock something in, this is not a time to do it. It's a wonderful time for your more creative work, but not a time to lock things in. All right. So for the light of this week, well, I'm liking the new moon. I know it's not filled with trines, okay, but I'm still liking this kind of you know, Pluto's gone. What do I want to initiate in this area of my life, in the Capricorn area of life? I also like to have kind of like a little starter new moon for the beginning of the year, because really until we get to that first new moon in January, it's really, well, actually the new year is when the sun goes to 0 degrees varies, right? But still, if you're lining up with the calendar year, it makes more sense to align with that new moon at the end of January. I am also really loving the connection between Mercury and Chiron. I love this for deep understanding, for gaining wisdom, and you know, I just get this imagery of a bunch of tangled strings and a ball, and just kind of pulling it all apart and beginning to understand the why of some of the things you've been through, so that you can move forward. And then, of course, finally, I really love the Sun sextile Saturn. That's probably, you know, highlighter. Sun sextile Saturn, really, really nice little assistance for us, especially with the Mars Pluto. And of course, now we're talking about the shadow, and could I list the Mars Pluto twice? I mean, I just, this energy is uncomfortable. It's a little erratic. It's not something you can list every potential possibility for this energy, but it's very fiery. And I also want you to remember, think of the Mars in Leo as being Mars in the sign of the king or leader, and Pluto being in Aquarius, the symbol of the people, you may see something in the world that resembles the people versus the king, or something going on with a leader. Now, the Sun-Saturn sextile is going to help that leader, okay? So, but it should be interesting to observe that. I'm also watching, you know, kind of at the end of the week, that Aries moon. Once the Aries moon starts to move through there, I think it will stir some passions, and that could amplify some of this nodal contact. So, you know, I just say that's a shadow just because you want to make sure that you're not just like, oh, forget it, never mind. Okay? If it's important, put in the work, and then you can walk away from something with the peace of knowing that you did your best, right? And that you gave it your all. So, sometimes the dance is done, right? All right. Well, I appreciate you watching this. If you found it useful or helpful, please like, please comment below. Please hop on my website. I am starting a new life transformation course on January 11th. Very excited to offer that to you. And it is time, the time of year for Tarka. Tarka is the Sanskrit term for review. And at the calendar New Year, we often do what we call a Maha Tarka, a great review. And so we look at each of the 12 areas of life as delineated by the houses of astrology, and we review. It's just a way of classifying our experiences. And I have a downloadable online course, which is on sale until the first of the year. I have it half price for only $15. You instantly download a manual, and it has links to 2 videos, one of which guides you through all these journaling questions for the 12 areas of life to review last year. And then to do it all again and manifest 2025 with the same review of those 12 areas. So it's a class and course I've been teaching for years and years. I do a Tarka every year at the calendar year. I polish it up, get a little bit more specific when the sun goes to Aries, 0 degrees Aries in March. And then I do it again at my solar return just to kind of see where I'm at. So that is on the website as well. Hop on there and check that out. All right, let's see what's going on with the tarot. I wish you the most peaceful, magical initiation into 2025. And if I can help in any ways, please hop on the website. I offer consultations of all different flavors, and I'd be honored to help. All right, I'll see you in the tarot. Hello, friends. Last tarot for the month. Listen to me. The year. What a year, man. I don't think any of us, I'll speak for myself. I have not had a small year. I mean, 2020 was insane. 2021 was insane. I thought 2022, nothing could get crazier. 2023 said, hold my tea. 2024 said, hold my wine. And I don't know what 2025 is going to say, but Lord. All right. So we're doing a reading for the collective, Isis Lotus Tarot spread for the collective for the week of December the 30th, 2024, which guides us into our abundant, fabulous, and full of change 2025. It's going to be a ride. All right, my darlings. The first card is the past. So in the past, this influence was us wanting to take an action, us wanting to move forward. This is idea. It was like, go, 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 go. Must do this, must say that, must have this decision made. You, however, are the 9 of Wands, which is indicating, yes, you're moving in a certain direction and don't give up. It's an encouraging card. Now, the environment you're in is the 2 of Pentacles, which reminds you, don't go to extremes. And then, as these energies come together, we have the Knight of Pentacles, which is going to, let's say, you're coming from that space of the Knight of Swords, which is ideas. The Knight of Pentacles is a little bit more practiced, grounded in reality. It has to do with maybe, how you're using your time, your energy, your resources in some way, but there's a desire to move forward in a specific way. Now, the key card of the future, 4 of Pentacles. Do not go overboard. Be conservative, especially financially, okay? There's going to be some ups and downs and downs and downs and ups, okay? So don't overextend yourself, especially financially. Now, the opposing energies in play, we have the 8 of Swords. You consumed with worry, even though none of these things have happened yet, or the Hierophant. You either getting advice or giving advice, stepping into the position of being the wise one. Now, The near future detail key card is the Three of Wands. You are moving in the right direction. So again, several things here that are reminding you to think positively and know that you're on track. Now, with that Eight of Swords, we have the Devil. This is being consumed with worry and overwhelm, okay? On the Hierophant side, we have the Knight of Wands, which indicates you're going to get that advice or think things through, and then you're going to take an action. Now, with the Devil and the Eight of Swords, we have the Fool. You have to really realize that you're the architect of your life. I know there's things that feel like they're out of your control, but what are you energizing with your thoughts, your words, and your deeds? Over here with Hierophant and the Knight of Wands, looks like an instant feedback loop here because we're getting the Nine of Cups, which indicates abundance and wealth. So you take this drive or action and immediately you think, yes, that was the right way. Now, these are modified in what way? Oh, wow, look at all these passions. Maybe the Devil's not so much of a negative card over here on the Eight of Swords side because here's the Lovers. So it could just be passion stirred. It could be, it's interesting. We have the Devil on one side and the Knight of Wands on the other, both of which are like fiery, move forward kind of energies. Let's see what the rest of them are. Over here on the Hierophant, Knight of Wands, and Nine of Cups side, we have the Two of Wands, a crossroads, a decision to be made. The final card for the Eight of Swords side with the Lovers is the Eight of Pentacles. Gaining knowledge, learning, studying, preparing for something in the future, thinking long term here. On the other side, again, there's on the Hierophant side, it looks like paired with the Two of Wands, we have the Seven of Cups, which is telling you, hey, yeah, you feel like you have to make a decision, but it could be that you can't make that decision until you narrow some things down. You get your priorities straight. You kind of figure things out. So I would say with this energy, there are two distinct ways to work with it. One is a passionate move forward. The other is you're still in decision mode, okay? So let's recap here, starting at the beginning. A very good place to start. So from the past, you've made a decision, okay? You're trying to move forward. And don't worry, you're on track. The universe is reminding you that. Now, you have to stay balanced, nothing extreme, okay? No wild, sudden moves. It's like driving the car. Don't end up in the ditch. As these come together, you'll understand more what practical actions need to be taken to move forward. And the key card, just conserve your time. Don't overextend yourself financially or emotionally or energetically, all right? Now, the one side says, hey, okay, so, but you're really, really consumed with worry. The mind is just, you're not your asset now. But let's move past that, right? Continue to move forward. And I would say with this Devil and the Fool, connect to your passions. Like there's something really positive out there for you. Try not to get, don't succumb to the darkness or the negative thoughts, right? And then this Lovers and the Eight of Pentacles card, clearly, whatever this thing that comes through for you this week is something that's going to help you make your decisions later. Now, on the other side, we have the Hierophant. So we're conserving our resources, right? And then we may decide we want to ask somebody for some help or advice, right? Could be a financial advisor. It could be you need to talk to your doctor about something. It could be that you need to book a consultation with a psychic. Maybe you need to talk to your astrologer. I don't know. But you could also be the person who's like in that decision-making capacity and you're moving forward with something you're very passionate about. All right. And then, some good news will come in and you'll be like, I'm on track. But then there's another decision that really needs to be made. Okay. You really have to make that decision. And then that's when you've got to narrow down your options and choices and don't get overwhelmed with possibility. Okay. Tune into what really matters to you. If there's one piece of advice for the future that I would give most of us is that we have to watch out for the shoulds. I should do this. I should do that. Okay. According to who? Yeah, you should floss. Okay. Yeah, you should save money and be a sensible human. But watch out for the shoulds that are things that your culture or your family taught you to do that don't matter to you, that aren't of value for you. Align with your own values. Align with your new tribe of people. That could even be part of what that whole Libra South Node and Aries North Node lesson has been for you. So, all right, my darlings, I wish you the most marvelous week, and I'll see you next time.